stated, one of the problems is these young girls were not brought up with any critical thinking skills or anything of that nature. They were thrust into a world of multiculturalism and radical liberalism, and they succumbed to it. Now, they're saying that marijuana saved their lives. Now, if they would have embraced salubrious living, which was part of their religion, I believe that they were members of the World Church of the Creator, they could have actually corrected their problems most likely. And I'm going to show why in a later video, or in this video, if my screen recorder works as it's supposed to.
Saved my life. I would probably be dead if I didn't have it. Former neo-Nazi Frank Mienik joined the movement when he was 13 and says the girls, like so many young kids in the movement, were taught how to hate.
The twins were grabbed when they were so young, and I mean, a mother teaching you is everything. That's where you learn all of your morals, all of your humanity, if you have any.
For Lynx and Lamb, grooming into white supremacy started at birth. They were nurtured on racist beliefs by their mother, April Gady, who is unapologetic about her parenting and her beliefs.
Now, I don't think she should be apologetic about her parenting or her beliefs. What I think she should be apologetic about is indoctrinating her children with her beliefs instead of giving her children the objective tools and critical thinking skills that they've required to make the proper choices, the proper mistakes, if you will, to learn from their mistakes and the mistakes of others, to gather information, process information, and come to conclusions that made sense. But you'll see these girls went all the way to the other side simply because this was a natural knee-jerk reaction to the indoctrination. They really should have been deprogrammed, I think. There is deprogramming stuff. There's a gentleman by the last name of Hassan that was a member of the Moonies that wrote a book on deprogramming. But here, let's move on.
We were Christians. They would be maybe singing Christian rock songs, but we're not. We're white nationalists, and so, of course, that's a part of our life, and I share that part of my life with my children.
But today, April believes the girls are just falling into peer pressure. They're saying what everyone wants to hear, so they won't.
I mean, it's very obvious what happened. They grew up in a very secluded, very, I would say, very inculcated environment where they did not have access to other points of view. When they had access to these other points of view, they lacked the critical thinking skills necessary to gather the proper information and process it and realize, you know, okay, so some generalities aren't true. Generalities do not mean that, you know, just because one group of people might be like this, it doesn't mean every individual in that group is like that. And that's a problem. That's a real problem. The one problem I see is their use of marijuana, which is a dangerous substance. And I'm all for legalizing marijuana, just not for children. Okay? I think that marijuana for recreational purposes should be fully legal to anyone that's an adult. And it should be taxed and regulated.
Harassed anymore. Let's face it, it's not popular to be a white separatist, and they want to be popular. The girls, however, say this is who they are, and that time, experience, and love has changed them for the better. Lamb says, we just want to come from a place of light and love. I think we're meant to do something more. We're healers. We just want to exert the most love and positivity we can.
Now, Lynx still lives at home with her mother and likes to paint and restore furniture. Lamb works as a hotel maid not far away, and they do worry about backlash from their old fans saying, quote, there are dangerous people in.
So this is an article here after it loads from Yahoo. And this is about, you know, this is the same thing essentially that video was about. You can read it yourselves. Okay. And moving forward. Now, I may be wrong, but I do believe that those young ladies and their mother were members of the World Church of the Creator, which was copyrighted by another group, so it's now called the Creativity Religion. But one of the concepts of the World Church of the Creator is actually, let's see here, beliefs, blah, 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 diet. So And I'm going to get into why this is beneficial in both their cases. But Clausen was a natural hygienist who recommended a strict fruitarian diet and raw vegan diet, known as salubrious living, which consisted of organically grown fruits, grains, nuts, and vegetables. He commented that food should be uncooked, unprocessed, unpreserved, and not tampered with in any other way. This further means it must be organically grown without the use of chemicals. Clausen argued that humans are frugivores and distinguished his fruitarian diet from vegetarianism in his book, The White Man's Bible. He stated that we are not recommending a vegetarian diet, but a frugitarian diet, which included nuts and seeds as a supply of protein. However, Clausen himself did not follow all the rules of his health regime. He did not come to this conclusion until later in life. Clausen is a very interesting person. Clausen invented the electric can opener. Predominantly, he was an inventor and real estate developer. He basically created, Silver Springs, a certain housing development, a whole town, actually. Very interesting gentleman. Creativity rejects supernaturalism, affirming. But let's see. So the Creativity Alliance continues to advocate Clausen's raw vegan diet and argues against the use of drugs, including medication. Creativity members also follow anti-Semitic kosher laws in which pork, shellfish, and catfish are strictly forbidden. I don't understand. Creativity members follow anti-Semitic kosher law? That don't make any... Okay, that's a little odd. I don't know what that would mean. That's a little bizarre there. So we're going to talk a little bit here about fasting and vitamin C as a treatment for cancer. Once this loads, I don't know why it's not loading. So, yeah, this research was done by Dr. Walter Longo. People might know Dr. Walter Longo from his book, The Longevity Diet. So fasting plus vitamin C proves effective for hard-to-treat cancers. Now, the Creativity Alliance or the Creativity Religion or the World Church of the Creator, now, vitamin C would go against the concepts of salubrious living because it's a synthetic supplement, which is against the concepts of salubrious living. However, what my point is that there are also the raw food vegetarian or raw food fruitarian diet as outlined in salubrious living would be beneficial as well, which I'm going to show you later with Chris Beat Cancer and Dr. Brooke Goldner's Goodbye Autoimmune. So scientists from University of Southern California in Milan have found that a fasting mimicking diet could be more effective at treating some types of cancer when combined with vitamin C. In multiple studies on mice, researchers found that the combination delayed tumor progression in multiple mouse models of colorectal cancer. In some mice, it caused disease regression, meaning the disease went away. The results were published in the Journal of Nature Communications. For the first time, they have demonstrated how a completely non-toxic intervention, meaning this is not chemotherapy, meaning like chemotherapy works by poisoning the person and the cancer. And even immunotherapies are not non-toxic. But vitamin C, which if you, Thomas Levy, who wrote the book Curing the Incurable, Thomas Levy pointed out how vitamin C is literally safer than water. There are more deaths from water overdoses than have ever come from ascorbic acid overdoses. But a completely non-toxic intervention can effectively treat an aggressive cancer, said Walter Longo, the study's senior author and director of University of Southern California's Longevity Institute. at the University of Southern California, Leonard Davis School of Gerontology, and a professor of biological sciences at the University of Southern California. So, yes, fasting as professed by Ben Klassen combined with ascorbic acid therapy is beneficial in some forms of cancer moving forward. So this is the channel, Chris Beat Cancer. This channel is about nutrition, and so this is him. This is the description of the channel. Hi, his name is Chris Wark. He was diagnosed with stage 3 colon cancer in 2003 at the age of 26. He had surgery but refused chemo. Instead, he used nutrition and natural therapies to heal himself. By the grace of God, he is alive. Topics include holistic health, cancer prevention, nutrition, natural and alternative cancer treatments and therapies, and fitness. Okay? So, I highly recommend people interested watch this guy's videos. Here are some playlists he has. Beat Cancer Daily, Chris Myths, what's in his whatever travel bag, his cupboard, what have you. Interviews with doctors. This is very important. You will see some of the doctors he has interviewed. He has interviewed Dr. T. Colin Campbell, who did the most extensive research ever, most extensive nutrition research ever. Dr. Christian Northrup, plant-based diet reversing disease, natural cancer treatment, blah, 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 blah. You see going on. He even has an hour and 15-minute long video on vitamin C. Interesting, right? And he interviewed Dr. Walter Longo. So this is Dr. Brooke Goldner's Goodbye Lupus channel. Okay, so again, this woman had autoimmune disease, so she has helped thousands of people successfully reverse autoimmune diseases like lupus, rheumatoid arthritis, multiple sclerosis, Sjogren's, and more. She is a medical doctor, okay? She's not this out of her ass. She is literally a doctor doing this. She is a best-selling author of Goodbye Lupus, Goodbye Autoimmune, and Green Smoothie Recipes to Kickstart Your Health and Healing. Forbes Health Advisory Board member, sole professor for autoimmune disease reversal for plant-based nutrition certification from Cornell, expert in the nutritional, emotional, and lifestyle changes necessary to reverse and recover from inflammatory and autoimmune diseases, increase energy and vitality, and quality of life. Now, her views are in concurrence with the dietary, not all. I don't want to lump her in with, salubrious living, because there are aspects of salubrious living that are not, they're not her deal, okay? And I don't want her associated with that. But the diet, her diet is in perfect adherence to the dietary concepts of salubrious living. So if Ms. Lynx and Lamb were practicing the Goldner Protocol, they would be in adherence to the concepts expressed by Ben Klassen in salubrious living, and their issues would have improved. Now, this is Dr. Michael Greger's presentation on how not to age. It's a new book he has. One of the things that he promotes that I most certainly do not promote is protein restriction. I do, however, very, 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 very strongly advise people get their protein from plants whenever possible. I've done many videos about how plant protein consumption is correlated to living longer, okay? And the fact of the matter is, I did try a low-protein vegan diet, which was the starch solution, and it goddamn near killed me and destroyed my physique. So I do not recommend restricting protein. I do recommend, however, utilizing things like essential amino acid supplements and pea protein, things of that nature, and getting an allergy test to make sure you're not allergic to any specific types of protein. Now, this guy, his book shows the 11 pathways of aging, and it will show you like how to activate them. My view with protein restriction is instead of protein restriction, you can activate that shit through nutritional approaches like the use of quercetin, the use of resveratrol, the use of tirastiobene. I am not a big fan of protein restriction or even aggressive caloric restriction, but most certainly I am not a fan of protein restriction. But moving forward, so in closing, what I want to say is that these two young women, Lynx and Lamb, were the unfortunate victims of a well-meaning mother who unfortunately indoctrinated her children and did not allow them the proper critical thinking skills to make the proper decisions that are right for them on their own, which resulted in them experimenting with marijuana and giving in to most likely very, very bad habits that are against a healthy life. And if they were given their critical thinking skills, perhaps they would be reading things like, I don't know, Dr. Michael Greger's books, maybe the book Chris Beat Cancer. Maybe they would have been reading, Brooke Goldner's books, Goodbye Autoimmune, Goodbye Lupus. Maybe they'd have been healing themselves with a frugivorous diet, a raw food diet like Dr. Brooke Goldner used to cure her lupus and to help others to reverse their autoimmune diseases. But instead, they were not given the critical thinking skills. They just went balls to the wall the other way. And they were clearly exploited as young people. They were far too young to be in the environments that they were in, where not only their minds, but perhaps their bodies could have been put into danger in some of these environments. And that's all for this video.